報導下呢場嘅賽事。咁25號咧係首先出嚟啦，跟住其他車輛啦，而蜂擁啊係直到呢個葡京灣方面咧係進發嘅。咁而家呢已經喺呢個碼頭直路。咁啊5號咧呢架車咧已經係脫穎而出啦。咁啊首先咧係脫穎而出就係夏士林啦，跟住格蘭嘅車咧我見到啦10號嘅車就係格蘭啫。咁佢已經咧係順利咧進入呢個葡京灣啫。咁已經啦，佢係排喺呢個第3位。哇！好多車仔攞個彎係相當之密，但係由於係技高人膽大，而家所有車已經向呢個雞山直路咧進發啦。咁啊夏士林領前，就10號嘅格蘭呢係喺呢個第2嘅席位。咁而呢個9號嘅華迪古斯呢就排喺呢個第2位㗎。咁啊而家咧幾架車啊已經啊係魚貫咁前進啦。嗱5號、9號、10號好明顯嘅，我哋睇到啦。咁啊而家啊其他嘅車手啊就好似啦19號嘅恩斯特啊，1號嘅奇連啊，3號嘅魯伯圖啊，以及咧7號嘅羅便神等啦，都係咧係緊追不捨㗎。咁啊但係以現在嘅形勢嚟睇呢，夏士林呢已經啦拋離對手咧差唔多呢係有成30公尺㗎。咁啊而9號嘅呢個咧華迪古斯呢係緊追不捨，而格蘭呢係仍然係緊走喺第3位。咁而家呢3部車啊已經咧直向呢個碧瑤灣方面啦係直落㗎，即係落呢個水塘嗰邊啦，咁直向呢個警察訓練所方面咧係推進㗎。咁啊，而其餘嘅賽車呢，亦喺呢個時間咧喺呢個松山上路呢係展開飛馳。咁啱啱奪得咗高級組冠軍嘅蕭國滔以及李榮彪呢，同樣係參加呢場嘅比賽㗎。咁我而家見到咧鏡頭前啦，9號、10號同埋咧啱啱過去嘅兩架車呢，就已經係3個車一齊咧喺呢個海角遊圍方面進展㗎。咁啊睇嚟咧夏士林係放離對手咧比較遠啲啦。咁啊領前好多㗎。咁而9號嘅咧就係華迪古斯咧係喺第2位，而格蘭呢老將就喺第3位。咁而其他嘅賽車呢已經係陸續追到㗎，就係呢1號嘅奇連、3號嘅魯伯圖、7號嘅羅便神。咁而家嗱我見到啦5號㗎就係夏士林。哇！喺第1個圈嘅比賽裏邊佢立端係施展佢嘅大放本領，喳聲咁樣啦，就揸住架康打車呢係將對手呢拋離咗少少㗎。咁而家呢過咗呢個海螺灣啦，直向呢個水塘北角進發。夏士林，而9號嘅呢就係華迪古斯，好順利咁樣咧轉入呢個灣。呢啲咁嘅高手過招咧，的而且確不同凡響。而呢個格蘭呢亦係不甘示弱㗎。咁我哋見到啦，嗱從高處望去可以見到㗎，就領前呢就係5號嘅夏士林。首先呢係過咗呢個行人天橋，直向呢個大賽車看台方面進發。冇錯，一衝而過。而跟住呢就係響佢距離佢20公尺到嘅呢，就係呢個華迪古斯。咁跟住呢，再喺呢個20公尺後呢，就係上屆冠軍格蘭啦。咁啊3架車呢係鬥得相當之激烈㗎。咁而睇下呢，跟住呢架呢就10號嘅格蘭啦。格蘭呢就可以講得話係一位呢經驗豐富嘅老將啦。現年呢係41歲，係一位呢鬥志甚好，而且呢技術出色嘅英國嘅名將嚟㗎。咁啊
Problems in practice. Yes, indeed, he had a great many problems in practice. Chris had trouble setting up the bike. They experienced carburation problems, problems with the back brake, and a few handling problems also. But Mick Grant seems to have put that behind him now, and he's on his way. He'll be very pleased indeed with that third place behind the 2 Elf Hondas.
Oh, and Grant just clips the wall. A nasty moment there. You just saw Mick Grant flinch. He caught that wall with his elbow. So easy to make a mistake. Well, even the best men can make a mistake round here. And there is confirmation of the leading positions at the end of the second lap. Ernst Geschwender there, number 19, and a battle down the field there with some of the local boys in action. Lee Man Ying bringing up the rear of that group. We're back though with the race leader, number 5, Haslam. Well, Ron followed Didier Duradigue in practice yesterday, and he was a little bit concerned because Didier didn't quite know where he was going, made a few mistakes, and Ron said he definitely didn't want to stay too close to Duradigue's in this particular race, and Ron trying to make good his escape as quickly as he can. We're looking back up to the entrance to the Macau hairpin as Grant goes through. News from around the circuit is that Peter Robato, who did so well here last year, is touring. So that's Robato in problems. There is Mick Grant, bike number 10. between Yorkshireman Mick Grant on the Skull Bandit Suzuki and the Finn, Eero Hyvarinen. And Hyvarinen is trying everything he can. He's trying the left side, the right side. The only thing he's not tried to do is go straight over the top of Mick Grant, and he might try that if he gets frustrated much more, I think, Paul.
I think that's right, Chris. Indeed, he might. Just as we speak, there's Peter Rubato going out of the race. His race is over. We saw he had some problems on the previous lap, and he's now into the pits and out of the race.
So there is the scrap for third place, Grant, the Englishman. And in fact, it's ironic that Hyvarinen should be the man who's putting the pressure on the veteran Englishman, because when Eero was a youngster, and he and another Finn called Pekka Nurmi went to England to learn their trade of racing, they stayed for many weeks at a time at Mick Grant's home. Well, this is not a nice way to show your gratitude for hospitality by pressurising an old man like Mick Grant. Mick Grant then in third place. We wait to see who it's going to be out of our sight for just a couple of minutes, and Grant is still there. Hyvarinen again looking round, and you can see behind them that's Geschwender and Steve Henshaw getting a bit closer. So Grant has got a lot of pressure and problems breathing down his neck, but those pressures and problems could multiply if Geschwender and Steve Henshaw get closer. You can see them closing up. There's Henshaw now. He's closing up. And the rest of the pack behind them, they're breathing down the battle between Grant and Hyvarinen. And Hyvarinen's got through. Hyvarinen made his move, number 34. Eero Hyvarinen, the 500cc European champion, goes through to take third place from Mick Grant. And Steve Henshaw, another man who's only recently back in the racing scene after an injury. He crashed at the British meeting, and only before he came on the trip over to Macau from England did he have the plaster taken off his ankle. It's still swelling up from time to time. So Henshaw now closing on Grant, and it would appear that the Skull Bandit Suzuki must be having some problems. I can't see Hyvarinen and Henshaw pegging back Grant, Paul, if Grant hadn't got a problem. And as we see confirmation of the leaders, this is the scrap for third, fourth and fifth place. There is Hyvarinen, Granty behind him, and Henshaw there. It's turning into a really good battle.
It's an excellent battle there, keeping the interest going further down the field. But I don't think we've seen the last of Mick Grant yet. He's a very wily campaigner. It could be that he's having problems with the Skull Bandit Suzuki, but it could be just a bit of track craft from him.
Well, we shall wait and see. There's Hyvarinen, and you see Henshaw going wide, trying very hard indeed, going into the corner quicker than Grant so he can come out of the corner faster. Remember, of course, it's the speed that you go into the corner that's the important thing. The battle for third place before our eyes, and Grant has lost one place to Hyvarinen, about to lose another, I suspect. And Hyvarinen now stretching the advantage over young Michael Grant. And back now, there's Matt Oxley, one of the British journalists, a top man in the Endurance Championship, on basically a modified production motorcycle, back with the scrap for third place. There's Hyvarinen, and there is Henshaw looking for the inside line. Well, that was close, and Mick Grant just closed the door. Wasn't a lot of room there, but Henshaw was ready to go through. And Henshaw is breathing down the neck of Mick Grant. He's trying again, and again Grant chops him off. Grant there, and again, I just really suspect that there's some problems with the motorcycle. This is the first time that Mick has raced this particular Skull Bandit machine, a very special bike, and Henshaw looking for the inside line, and Grant holds him off. Grant in fourth place, Henshaw in the fifth spot, and Henshaw comes out of the corner quicker, and they're side by side sprinting down towards Marlborough Corner. And again Grant has the better line, and Henshaw is forced to ease off But again, once we come to the quicker parts of the circuit, I really do think that Mick's got problems with the bike, Paul.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised. I know they had these problems in practice, and it could be that they simply didn't have enough time to get it sorted out properly. It can often happen that you think you've cured the problem, but when it comes to the race, it's a different matter.
So that's 6 laps gone in this 15-lap first leg. Well, Grant, I'm sure, will be disappointed if he loses any more ground, but remember, of course, it is a 2-leg race, and Henshaw now pulls out of the slipstream. But again, it looks as though his privately owned Suzuki isn't a match for the lighter weight Skoal Bandit machine, and Grant holds the advantage going past the Lisboa Hotel, out towards the San Francisco Barracks, up Spook Hill, and Grant brushing against the Armco. Well, Mick Grant is a man who likes road racing, but Henshaw's giving him a lot of pressure here. Henshaw right on the tyre tracks, trying first the right-hand side, then the left. You can see him there, almost pillion passenger with Mick Grant.
Yes, then there's no more difficult man in road racing to pass than Mick Grant. He knows all the tricks, everyone in the book, and he'll be doing his best to keep Steve Henshaw out.
Well, and Grant there made some sort of mistake because Henshaw was through like a rocket, and you can see the advantage that Henshaw's got already. And it looks as though Michael might have a more serious problem with that Suzuki. Well, Grant has gone down from 3rd place to 5th. And here's a chance to see that overtaking manoeuvre again in slow motion. You see Grant coming wide over to the right-hand side of the track. And Henshaw just seizes the chance. There's a big gap, and he says, "Thank you very much indeed." Dives through on the inside. Well, Mr. Grant has lost a place, and he's carving his way past the tail enders. Well, Mick Grant, last year's race went in. It's really like a traffic jam at the moment out there. And as just to keep you in the picture, Ron Haslam safely around, completing his 7th lap. Duradigs, there is Haslam, the race leader. Well, Ron was very disappointed he couldn't come over to Macau last year and seized the chance to come back again this time. There is Didier Duradigs, the Belgian. A colossal lead now for Haslam, but Duradigs must be happy with 2nd place. A fine performance for a man making his debut here at Macau. Not an easy circuit to learn. And Peter Lemstra from Holland, he's pulled out of the race, so the race taking its toll of the overseas entries and the local boys as well. Up Spook Hill, on towards Hospital Hill, the Maternity Benz, then the Solitude S's. The section of the circuit at the top of the hill, Duradigs was saying that he was having problems just learning his way around. You see the front wheel of the air pouring the air, front wheel of the bike pouring the air as he winds on the acceleration on the Elf Honda. Yesterday, Duradigs was saying he was having problems on some parts of the circuit. He thought he knew where he was going. He came to one corner, thinks, yes, I know what happens here, and wrong, it went the other way, and Didier admits that he got the bike sideways a couple of times, but appears to be making no mistakes in the race itself. Must be very happy with 2nd spot. And there's John Long from America, motorcycle dealer from Miami. So he's used to the nice warm climates, and John Long is pushing around nicely in something like 12th position. John Long, his father, John Long was a well-known racer in the United States, competed in all sorts of events, including the Daytona, big race at Daytona, when that used to be on the sand, on the beach race. We're back now with number 5, Ron Haslam. His right knee skimming the tarmac as he peels the bike hard over through Marlborough Corner, then up from 3rd gear to 4th to 5th, back down to 4th gear for Reservoir Bend. Then it's the fastest section of the circuit into 6th gear and top gear for Ron Haslam, approaching something like 170 miles an hour as they exit Yacht Club Bend and sprint down the straight towards Statue Corner and the Lisboa Hotel. And some of the local guys about to be given a riding lesson from Ron Haslam. Ron buys his time, he's got a comfortable lead, he doesn't have to rush. There is Duradeed in second place. And 24 seconds the gap between Haslam and Duradeeks. Comfortable advantage then. That's Wong Kai Shu going through, one of the local guys from Hong Kong. A man who's hit the headlines in both the senior race and the Grand Prix over the past couple of years or so. No change in the top 5. There's Didier Duradeeks, there's one of the slow men, and he's moving over to let Didier go through. That was in fact Joseph Nanu on the Mick Hemmings Suzuki. And into the pits. And a battle between Ray Swan, who raced this Suzuki for the very first time a year ago in Macau. And it looks as though Mick Grant is in the pits. It looks as though Mick Grant has pulled into the pits. I was just checking to look through the binoculars down there, and Mick Grant in the pits, so a problem for last year's race winner. And the charge up from Lisboa through San Francisco Barracks for some of the lower leaderboard men. And we pick up now second place man, Didier. In fact, that's the race leader, Ron Haslam. My apologies to Ron Haslam. And there you can see Mick Grant, the helmet is off. And that would appear to be very much the end of the race. And looking down, two of the men who've helped Mick so much this week, that's Alberto and Adriano. They've put their effort into helping out with the preparation of the bike, and all that work, all Nigel Everett's work and all the local Suzuki imported men's work, in vain. Mick Grant out of this first leg. And that means, of course, that up a position now will go. Well, Steve Henshaw already was in fourth position, so that means number 19, Ernst Geschwender, will move up another position. Haslam, the race leader, charging up Spook Hill into fourth gear as they get to the top, changing down through the gearbox. The sweeps and S's of Maternity Bend, then into Solitude S's. And the yellow flag being waved there. We can't quite see what the problem is, but no doubt Mr. Haslam will see in a moment. Ron Haslam, the race leader. Can't quite see what was the cause of the yellow flag being waved was, but whatever it was, it's caused no problem for Haslam. 9 laps gone now. Haslam, who's been busy on the winter months rebuilding a farmhouse that he's bought back in England, and there was a major panic for the Haslam Brigade just before he left. They installed central heating and water piping all over this house they renovated. They turned the mains pipe on just before Ron left, and there was so many water leaks you could have had a small swimming pool in the living room and almost every one of the bedrooms. So Ron has escaped the chaos and pandemonium back home at the farm, where they're trying to sort out the water leaks, to come over here, get a bit of sunshine, and it would appear to notch up another Grand Prix victory. Oil flag showing there, the yellow flag being waved, so whoever's taken a tumble there has laid some oil. Haslam can afford to ease off the pace. He's a very experienced competitor. He won't do anything foolish. Closing up now on number 51, Fujiwara, one of the Japanese visitors, one of 4 Japanese riders in the race. A strong international field for this year's Macau Grand Prix, and Haslam about to pick his moment to go through. There's Didier de Rodrigues, now more than 25 seconds behind Haslam. Well, the Union Trading Company who brought these Hondas over, helped with the Honda Benelux effort, well, I'm sure will be delighted. Their men are first and second in the race. And just behind Ron at the moment is Gerhard Voigt, who's obviously sorted out the problem he had in the opening laps, because Gerhard out on the racetrack. There's number 43, Matt Oxley, in your picture. And de Rodrigues in second place, closing up on him. Well, Paul, Matt Oxley works for your paper. How do you think he's doing out there on the racetrack?
Well, I think we can only say as well as can be expected, Chris. It's not the ideal machine for this circuit. He's riding, in fact, a super stock bike, a GSXR 750, and he said to me it is a bit of a handful on this very tricky circuit in Macau.
Well, Matt Oxley about to be lapped then by the Belgian Didier de Rodrigues, who's in second place, and you can see the difference in speed. De Rodrigues on an out-and-out racing motorcycle. Oxley, and that looked a bit like Steve Parrish just pushing the motorcycle out of the way. And de Rodrigues having been held up just a fraction. There is number 34, Eero Hyvarinen. He's in third place at the moment and going well. Past the San Francisco barracks. Hyvarinen has been a visitor to Macau before, came over last year, enjoyed himself a great deal. A very good man on both genuine race circuits and on pure road circuits like this. 30 years of age, not really a youngster, but a very competent young man. Enjoys his racing here at Macau. And Hyvarinen taking his time now. He's got a comfortable lead over fourth place man Steve Henshaw. And again, Hyvarinen just seizes the right moment to make the overtaking manoeuvre. Very, very easy, of course, to throw all the hard work away by overtaking at the wrong time. There is Chai Kit Chung from Malaysia, number 16.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's nothing happening in the race. You might as well do an interview with Mick Grant. Very short.
Hyvarinen, the 30-year-old Finn, been in the racing game for at least 12 years, to my knowledge. And we go down now to Brian Langley down in the pits.
Well, Chris Carter, Mick Grant is due to join me shortly. He's not yet arrived. I'll hand it back to you to take over commentary for a short while. Wait for our cue. Thanks very much.
Well, it seems we've got a bit of a technical problem. We'll be joining Brian hopefully in a couple of minutes, but we're back with the action. And the man in the picture there, you can see the problems. Heavy braking there for Didier de Rodrigues. The bike shaking the front wheel and the back wheel in protest. They have to come down from something like 160, 170 miles an hour down to 25 miles an hour to take that sharp right-hand 90-degree bend at the Lisboa Hotel. Not an easy corner at all. Hyvarinen, the Finn, in third spot, right behind him, Steve Henshaw, the man from Jacksdale in Nottinghamshire, who only had the plaster off his injured leg. Well, we've now got Brian Langley down in the pits talking to Mick Grant. Down to you, Brian.
Thank you, Chris. Mick, we saw you pull out there. What was the problem?
We've got some problems which we didn't really sort out in practice. We've got very poor acceleration, which you just feel a matter of setting up, and we've got some quite bad suspension problems.
You look as though you got bad back problems. Is that a result of it?
No, that's a sweat going running down the back. No, it's not terminal. We'll have another go tomorrow, but obviously with it raining, we have been a bit stuck for practice.
We're sorry to see you go out. We look forward to seeing you in action, top of the form tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Back to you, Chris. Thank you.
Well, that's the story from Mick Grant, and back on the racetrack we have the battle on between Eero Häivärinne and Steve Henshaw, just going round there. That's number 68, one of the lower leaderboard men. Where is this scrap for third and fourth place? They're mixed right up with the tail enders now, and there they are, slap bang in the middle of it. The numbers 34 and 27, Häivärinne. 30-year-old Finn, Steve Henshaw, 28 years of age, from Jacksdale in Nottinghamshire, and Henshaw having a superb ride. He said to me before the race he wasn't going to do any heroics. Well, I wouldn't exactly say this wasn't an heroic ride. He's pulled up very well indeed, Paul Fowler.
Well, in fact, it's probably a better ride than we realised, Chris, because Steve Henshaw was having problems in the warm-up this morning with his steering head braces. He was telling me that the bearings were not correct, that they were feeling very bad indeed, and it's a very good ride indeed under those circumstances.
And it's traffic jam at Stacho Corner. Matt Oxley peels off first to head the gaggle through. Häivärinne goes through on the inside of him, accelerates and uses Oxley to block off Steve Henshaw. A very, very fine piece of riding there by the Finn. You can see he used Matt Oxley as a roadblock, quite inadvertently. Of course, Matt Oxley didn't do anything of his own volition, but the Finn able to use up a lot of ground. You can see Henshaw's just reeled him back in, as if he's got a chain and he's just winding on the handle. Häivärinne then with Henshaw breathing down his neck, and Henshaw's just cut that advantage down to almost nothing. This is the scrap for third and fourth positions. Out in front, Ron Haslam. Behind him, Didier de Rodrigues. The Englishman leads the Belgian on the L Hondas. Behind is the Finn, Eero Häivärinne, and Steve Henshaw going at it hammer and tongs for third and fourth place. A wonderful panoramic view of the Macau circuit. A big crowd as ever watching the action around the 3.8 mile circuit as the race leader Ron Haslam goes through yet again, and that means he's on his last lap. 14 laps gone. Back with the battle though. There is Häivärinne, and Henshaw loses just maybe 2 or 3 machines length on this particular section of the circuit, but Henshaw will start to pull him back in. You can see him closing there now, and you remember perhaps early on how Henshaw just rocketed past Mick Grant on the twisty bits at the top. And Ron Haslam has lapped all but the top 9 men. An amazing performance. And look at this, Henshaw closer and closer, leading off the bike, the weight right down on the right-hand side of the motorcycle, and Häivärinne will look over his shoulder and will discover a unpleasant surprise, because Steve Henshaw is right there with him, and I suspect Eero thought that he'd shaken him off with that overtaking manoeuvre. And look at Henshaw lining up for the move which will hopefully take him through to third place, he believes. Under 4 miles to go then to settle this battle for third and fourth positions. Häivärinne goes through, and again they close up on a slower man. He goes round the outside. Henshaw goes on the inside. Well, that poor man won't know what hit him. Häivärinne then changing down from 6th gear down to first, down to 25 miles an hour, peeling over to the right. Henshaw behind him. Henshaw then with less than a lap up San Francisco Barracks, up Spook Hill, and Henshaw was very quick on this section before. And Henshaw, there is Häivärinne, and Henshaw right with him, closer and closer and closer. This is the trickiest part of the circuit. Neither man can afford to make a mistake. This is the crucial lap. It's now or never for Steve Henshaw. Barely half a lap left for the British rider to pin back the Finn. There is Ron Haslam on his way to victory in this first leg. Round Marlborough Corner into Reservoir Bend, and it's all coasting now. He could almost get off and push the bike home. A good lead over Didier. There's the checkered flag. And Ron Haslam, the British boy, on the Elf Honda, has won the first leg of the Macau Grand Prix. An excellent performance. There is Didier Duradigue, the second place man. He's got that same relatively easy section of the circuit, safely around Marlborough Corner. Then it's the left-hander of Reservoir, and that shouldn't prove any problems. And again, we're in a situation where Didier could push it home to wrap it up. Checkered flag goes out. Didier Duradigue in second place, but who is it going to be third? That is the big question. Duradigue's delighted with that second place. And here they come, and some slower men have got in the way, and Hyvärinen has pulled away now. Hyvärinen has got a bit of an advantage. Those slower men have given the Finn the advantage he needed, and I think Steve Henshaw is going to need a small miracle. Hyvärinen looks over his shoulder, sees the advantage, and that's the greatest advantage it's been. Well, bad luck for Steve Henshaw. Caught up some slower men at the worst possible part of the circuit. Hyvärinen managed to get through, so the checkered flag will go out for the Finn. Number 34, Eero Hyvärinen, who takes third spot. In fourth position is Steve Henshaw. We're waiting now to see who's going to be fifth home. And that should be Klaus Klein. Klaus Klein, the German. There is the Finn, Hyvärinen, a good third, an excellent ride from the former 500cc European champion. A big wave to the crowds around the circuit. A happy little man is Eero. And Klaus Klein does in fact go through. So he will be fifth, and sixth position goes to Steve Parrish. So there's the first six then. To repeat the finishing order, Ron Haslam, the winner. Second place, Didier Duradigue. In third spot, after an excellent ride, the Finn, Eero Hyvärinen. In fourth position, Steve Henshaw. In fifth spot is Klaus Klein. In sixth place is number 6, Steve Parrish. In seventh spot seventh one, Steve Parrish. In eighth place, Ernst Geschwender. And we'll wait for confirmation. Race one behind him, and completing that top group, Neil Robinson. Well, a good ride from Neil. But there's the men who have set this race alight. They've wowed the crowd. Teammates on the Elf Hondas, the 29-year-old British rider Ron Haslam and the 27-year-old Belgian Didier Duradigue in the Union Trading sponsored team. They've come over, Ron Haslam aiming for what will be a record-breaking fourth victory. And as we were saying before, Haslam having that nasty, scary moment yesterday when he literally bounced into the wall to protect the motorcycle. He thought if he didn't put his shoulder into the wall, then he'd catch the handlebar against the wall and perhaps fall off at something like 90 miles an hour. And that, of course, is not a desirable thing. Riders out.